Thank you everyone for tuning in today. My name is Carmen. I'm a real estate agent here in beautiful Whistler, BC. And I'm very excited to bring you a new guest today. Eddie Lack is a real estate agent down in Scottsdale, Arizona. Eddie, do you do Phoenix as well?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
okay, I figured.
Kind of Phoenix and all the surrounding areas.
Okay, perfect. And we're going to talk about what it looks like for a Canadian to buy property in the States. And I will address the ridiculous, almost comical timing of this conversation. I visited Arizona with my family in 2020 and we were in Phoenix. We absolutely loved it. It's come up so many times. And so it's been on my mind to be able to purchase property down there. And I do know some people that have. So I know it's possible. It's just in my mind, it's so complicated, and taxes and mortgages and how does it all work? So I appreciate you jumping on here because I figure as I learn, other people can too.
For sure.
However, I I chickened out of contacting you for most of last summer and fall. And when I finally did, you were like, yeah, great, let's do it. So we set a date. And in the past 3 weeks ish, since we set this date, a few things have hit the fan. So I will address the fact that people are passing around lists of how to not even buy American toilet paper, let alone property. But I think it's still a great topic and it's going to be relevant soon. This too shall pass and we'll be our good old friendly neighbors again. Um, so we can put it in our back pocket. You can watch this, save the information for later. The other thing, I mean, our dollar is so bad right now. Anyway, all those things aside, we're going to pretend like the timing is perfect and talk about all things property in Phoenix. That's my disclaimer. Eddie, do you have any other disclaimers?
No, I like it. I mean, I'm open to talking about anything. So yeah. Just shoot. I'll be ready.
Well, we're not a politics show, so we'll maybe avoid that altogether. Okay, so the other, shall we say, orca in the room, that's so bad, I'm sorry. I am contacting you from BC, and I'm sure if lots of people watch this, a bunch of them are going to say, hey, is that our Eddie Lack? And so, yes, you are. You were with the Vancouver Canucks, drafted 2010, AHL, NHL back and forth, but you started 2013
Correct.
officially.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah. 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 No, I was kind of with the organization 3 years first, played in the minors and kind of got used to the North American game and everything since I came from my home country, Sweden, right? Yeah, then played 2 years with the Canucks until they got tired of me and shipped me over to Carolina.
Well, you left an impression. Every time you post stuff that I see people, you're still very, very loved here. And it seems like you come up for charity events and stuff. Maybe the feeling is mutual. You talk about your time here quite a bit. So that's really fun. And we're big Canucks fans here in my house. We could dive into that, but we'll save that for another
Exactly.
time. But that's really great. I think most people would agree that being an NHL goalie, and actually, I should probably say, if you are watching this and you don't know what we're talking about, um, Eddie was an NHL goalie. And so the transition from that to being a real estate agent in Arizona, can you kind of connect those dots for us?
Yeah, so real estate and properties is always something that I've been interested in. So while I was still playing hockey, I had a few rental properties back home in Sweden and did a few developments there with my dad because he's a home builder there and just partnered up with different people through my family to kind of learn the industry and everything. And then when I retired, because I still retired pretty young, I was still just 30 years old when I retired. It was time to do something else, right? And I just really liked real estate, but I did not want to move back to Sweden because it's just so cold and dark in the winter. So me and my wife, we settled on Arizona here. We looked a little bit in Florida, we looked in California, but just like Arizona felt like home um, from the start. And now we built a life here. We got two kids and one on the way, and just love love the lifestyle here, being outside all the time. I mean, even in the summer, uh, everyone obviously complains that it's a little hot, but like we're still in the pool and we're still outside and everything, right? So yeah, just like got lucky, I guess, and just fell in love with the lifestyle and everything here.
And how long have you been in Scottsdale?
So we bought a house here 7 years ago while I was still playing, and then been here full time for 6 years, and been an agent for almost 6 years now.
Okay, so the process, let's say I've come down there, I'm on vacation, I've been there a few times, I love it. I've decided I want to invest in property in Phoenix, Scottsdale, Arizona in general. What I guess there's a part of me that feels like even in the paperwork, how you claim it on your taxes, where you get your mortgage, it seems a bit daunting, and maybe it's more simple than I'm making it out to be. So maybe walk us through, like, I give you a call and like I'm on vacation, I've decided I want a place. We figure out a neighborhood and a type. Then what does it look like after that?
So it kind of depends what kind of property you're looking for. Are you looking for some place to just have when you come to visit here? You want to rent it out when you're not here? Like there's so many different angles that you can get. But yeah, the interest rates for a Canadian right now is not that fun, right? We usually see prime plus two for Canadians. It is a lot higher than what you guys are used to, because your guys' interest rates there is even like 2% lower than ours is here right now, right? So if you're looking for a rental property, so let's start there. We have an amazing loan program that's called a DSCR loan. So the DSCR loan, um, it doesn't take a lot of background check to get those. So what the mortgage company does, they loan on the property itself and the income that it could possibly bring in, right? So if your mortgage is 2,500 a month, the property has to at least bring in 2,500 a month through the appraisal and everything when we go to do all the appraisals and everything. So like as long as the rent covers the mortgage, you're approved. So those are typically 25% down, but you can get it down to 20 in some instances. Uh, if you're looking for just yourself, you want a place to have here, right? Then it gets a little bit more complicated, but we also have lenders that can lend based off of your Canadian credit as well. So RBC, for an instance, they lend to Canadians in the US, so they're a really good option.
Okay.
We have portfolio lenders here, like Finemark Bank. They do the same thing. So with my experience, the best rates that you're gonna get is if you have some type of experience with RBC in Canada, because then they can just roll that over to RBC US. It takes a little bit longer time for them to close the escrows and everything, but like if you can get mid fives for an interest rate instead of 7.5, it's worth it, right? So
Right.
yeah.
And then is it also possible to go to a Canadian bank for a mortgage on a US property?
RBC is the only one that I've seen so far. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Maybe bank. I mean, if you have some equity and stuff in your property in Canada, you can always borrow on a HELOC or something on your property there, right? To get
Right.
enough money to buy a place here. But yeah, not everyone has that as well, right? So
Hmm.
that's kind of the mortgage and the lending side of it, which like it really isn't too complicated. It's just we just gotta figure out which road you want to take, right?
Right.
And then um when it comes to buying as a Canadian, not much else changes really here. The only thing that changes is when you go eventually to sell the property here, there's a foreign tax. So
Right.
um, so we call it FERPTA here. So it's a withholding tax. So it's not a tax that you have to pay the whole amount, but they are withholding the whole amount. So, for example, when you go to sell a place for $1 million, right? They withhold 30%. So they withhold 300,000 in an escrow account um, until you pay your taxes the next year. So once you pay
Mm.
your taxes, they release the rest of the funds to you, right? But they withhold that percentage because what happened a few years ago was Canadians had a bunch of property and everything in here, and when they went to sell, they just went back to Canada, and there was no way for the IRS to get them. So now you have to disclose that up front and get um, that money into an escrow account and just like wait for you to pay uh, the taxes and everything. You basically just have a border accountant, and most accountant up there are cross border, and they just file like the taxes for you here, and you pay it, and then you get the rest of the money back.
As far as a rental property goes, so you're earning money, American money.
Yeah,
Um, we would get that up here. We would claim that we earn money outside of the country, US dollars, and we get our own taxes on that, or we get US taxes on that.
you pay US taxes on it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I recently saw you talking about how Airbnbs now are maybe less lucrative than they used to be.
yeah. I mean, it it's got everything to do with the interest rate, right?
Okay.
And if you compared to like a few years ago, so I have a few rental properties and everything, and like when I bought my Airbnbs 4 or 5 years ago, they were 500,000, and now the same ones are $1 million, right?
Mm.
So when you go paying double for the property and your mortgage is double too, right? There's not that much left over when you have to count in the property management fee and everything, right?
Mhm.
The Airbnbs are still a good long-term hold, especially the way that the Canadian dollar is going right now too. But for like a short-term game, it's not as good as it used to be.
Yeah. Okay. Have your nightly rates gone up?
Our places are worth 900 to million, and they gross 150K a year each. But when you have to pay your property manager 25%, and then your mortgage is 5, 6 grand a month, right? Like
Mm.
there's not that much left over. There's like a little bit, but for everyone, the juice is not worth the squeeze, you know?
So here in Whistler with Airbnb, like last year, the province of BC dropped a bunch of regulations on having an Airbnb here, and we're
Yeah.
exempt, which is great because as a tourist town, that would be terrible to
Yeah,
lose
for
that.
sure.
Um, but we have specific pockets and areas where it's phased where you can't, and that's no different. It always was like that. Do you have zoning for sort of anti and pro short-term rental properties?
No,
Okay,
no. We only have areas with, you guys call it strata, but we call it HOAs. So
right?
we have areas with HOA where the HOA limits the short-term rental to you have to rent it out 30 days or 3 months at a time, right?
Yeah.
But in terms of the city regulations, we haven't seen anything. They did limit us to 6 people per house at a time, which
Mm.
everyone just markets for six, but we always get 10, 12, 14 people in
Is that
there, right?
regardless of the size of the house?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So they put this stupid rule up, but nothing has really changed, like in terms of how we run the Airbnbs or anything. Like
Okay.
it's all thing. Yeah.
And I was going to ask you about your property management. They're rent around 25%.
Yeah, 20-25% is what most property management company take.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's similar enough to hear. And now you also do some development, and you've talked a little bit more about how that might be a better option. What would that look like for, say, somebody up here that wants to invest in that way?
I personally have more pivoted from the Airbnbs to the development side because so much is happening here, and there's so many people that are moving here still from California and Canada and everything, right? So like this is a really growing economy, and numbers wise, the development stuff just makes so much more like sense. So
Mm.
we do single family specs where we see like 100% return on your money in 18 months, right? So like great ROI that you can't really get in Canada anymore, right? And
Mm.
then we have townhouse builds where like you can partner up uh, with investors from Canada as well, and they have like a GP LP structure where you can make 25% annually over a 2-year period. So there's like a lot of different options with the townhouses or um the single family builds and everything. I mean there's like a few different areas that I like more than the others, but from what my Canadian clients tell me is that you can't really get that uh ROI up there that we see down here.
So how would somebody go about choosing a project and finding a neighborhood? Obviously they can call you and ask, but what does that
Yeah.
process look like?
Yeah, so like I have 3-4 areas that I really like. It all depends how much money you want to spend or right. So um usually how this works is if someone is interested, like I'll tell them to get on a flight here and I can kind of drive them and show them around and everything, and they can build their own opinion of what they think works for them, right? And yeah, once we kind of zoom in on an area, we will discuss the financing and the corporate structure and everything like that, and then try to find the property, right? Once we find the property, then I will do the development. So I'll get the GC, I'll get the designer, I'll get the architect, I'll get the landscaper, the pool guy, and I just kind of like move everything forward. So it really is as hands-on or hands-off as anyone would want it to be, really.
Since we're talking about buying, we haven't really talked about what the market looks like down there right now. How did you guys go through COVID and come out of COVID, and what's that look like in Arizona?
We had a very similar market to yours, I felt like, with COVID. I mean, everything just shot up and doubled in value over a few years, right?
Yeah.
And then the interest rates got higher. We saw less transactions. The prices still crept up a little bit, like 2-3% a year appreciation, but not that much was happening, right? And then now after the election and Christmas and Thanksgiving and everything, like the last two months here has felt like it's back in 2021 and
Mhm.
2022 again. I mean, it's been absolutely nuts.
What do you think is driving that?
Uh, I think that people were waiting just for the uncertainty with the politics and everything, right? And like just in general, our summer months are like a lot slower here
Mm,
than spring, right? So um I just felt like everyone kind of get ready at once, you know what I mean?
mm.
Yeah.
Oh, you do like you work with quite a few people who are from Canada, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you, so without kind of getting into the politics side of it, do you anticipate a slowdown right now? Are you experiencing it already?
I haven't seen anything. All of our guys are still very, very hot on Arizona and they want to build here. We had the opposite when I was getting questions that people are selling. We had a ton of clients move money down here because they still think that the Canadian dollar will keep getting worse
Mm.
compared to the US. So they feel that they can make more money on the exchange rate as well, right? So yeah,
Your Airbnbs, your personal ones, are they all full?
yeah,
Do you
yeah.
have dead seasons like we do?
We don't have dead season. We have a less income season.
Right. We
So,
call it shoulder season now.
so
It's not dead.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So like we always have people in there, but we charge like now we can charge like 800 to 1,000 bucks a night while in the summer we charge 120 to 150 a night,
Mm.
right? So it's just like a big difference in prices and everything what we can charge, right? But no, they're still booked and everything and yeah, they still go strong. So yeah,
So your summer months are your slow, your quieter months.
correct.
Too hot for
Correct.
people.
Yeah, exactly. Like our business season is really now through June, like because it starts with Bear Jackson, which is like the big car show and everything we have here. Then
Okay.
last weekend we had the Waste Management Open, the golf tournament with like 750,000 people in town, and then now we roll into spring training starts now. So half of the MLB teams are here to play games for like a month and a half. So
Right.
and once that is done, we roll into the Bachelor and the Bachelorette season. And yeah,
Right. The
yeah,
spring. Yeah, it's funny how we have those waves. Obviously up here everything is around the ski season, but we
yeah,
bump up now for biking and hiking and lakes, and
yeah,
our shoulder seasons are a lot less shouldery than they used to be. But the spring
yeah.
and the fall, I have an Airbnb up here as well, and the spring and the
Nice.
fall can be pretty quiet.
Yeah, but like people still come and do like the mountain bikes and stuff up
Mm.
there, no?
Yeah, yeah. And we
Yeah,
also have a sort of a steady flow of conferences or
yeah,
festivals or whatever. Like there's always something going on. So
yeah,
definitely the summer is getting a lot busier than it used to be. Yeah.
yeah,
Thank you so much. I'll be in touch if we have more questions, and hopefully we'll see you up here sometime soon at another one of your talks. I missed that one that you had in
yeah.
Gastown. So that's why I wanted to reach out and talk to you another time.
Cool, cool. Well, I'm
Well,
always
have a
available.
great day.
Let me know.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.